Hello and welcome to Pro Tour London. I'm Randy Buehler. I'm here with Brian David Marshall, and we are ready for the quarterfinals. There's Masashi Oiso on the left of your screen. Definitely one of the best couple of players in the game right now, trying to make his case that he is the best Magic player in the world right now. But this draft deck is going to make it hard for him to make that case, especially since his opponent, Jeffrey Cerrone of Belgium, has a spectacular deck. He's nearly mono-red. He got ridiculous cards passed at him late in packs. He's basically the only red player at the table. Oiso could have had those red cards. He's actually splashing for 2 Spiraling Embers, so it'll be interesting to see. Oiso's got some sauce in his deck, but Cerrone's deck, clearly the best deck of these 8.
Jeffrey Cerrone's cards could come back to haunt Masashi Oiso because many of them should be in, or could be in Oiso's
You
deck.
could say should be.
I think it should.
You could have
it absolutely should be. I think Oiso made a number of mistakes during the draft. He had to take Cunning Bandit over Gnarled Mass. He made a decision about being black-green versus being black-red.
Yep.
He had switched into red in the first pack and then waffled back in the second pack.
Yeah, he bounced around colors. He wound up 3 colors, and he could have had a tight 2-color black-red, but he sort of got this picture of this black-green deck that touched red for removal and never let it go. So taking Gnarled Mass over Cunning Bandit, he regretted it. When he was building his deck, you could tell
he definitely regretted it, and he was really confused by his own first pick of taking Ren Flush because he doesn't really like black.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to, is he's not comfortable with the color. So he...
Bizarre that many messed up on red, but...
Well, I think what it did was it just unsettled him, and he's just nervous and uncomfortable. It put him out of his comfort zone in the draft. And he, I think made some mistakes. So, like I said, I felt he should have pushed green to one side.
Yep.
Sent people downstream into green and reaped the benefits of black and red coming back.
Wow. Meanwhile, Oiso mulliganed to 6, and Cerrone has come out with Aki Underling, Blademane Baku, and now the 5/4 guy.
Ogre Recluse.
Ogre Recluse, just a spectacular curve. He's smashing. He's got Oiso down to 15. He's got 8 power worth of creatures in play.
There's the Ren.
Oiso hasn't even played a spell. Does play the Ren Flush, though. That's helps stabilize. That's big. He needed that. He had to have an answer there, or
doesn't
he was
have that
just
many
going to get
instances in
rolled.
there to slow it down either.
No.
Cerrone has plenty of burn in his deck. Oh, there's his white. Oh, Ghostlet Raider.
Hits a counter on the Blademane. Is he going to go ahead and nail for 5?
Yeah, absolutely nails for 5 here. There's no reason.
What's your theory about using counters on Blademane?
I use it whenever I can. Whenever I can get the extra damage in. If I'm not using my mana for something else, I'm not going to set myself back on developing my board, certainly, but you always want to take a counter off.
He certainly seems to have a leftover mana here.
Yeah.
Presumably, since he played the Ghostlet Raider before combat.
I mean, Blademane Baku is not very hard to block, so you don't always get those opportunities to push damage. There's times where you need to build up the counters to when you're blocking, or you need to remove something. But you just want to bash. Is he doing that here? I don't think he didn't remove it. Weird. He does have the Raider, so he's going to be able to take out. He's really be able to make whatever creatures Oiso plays. Kami the Hunt right here is not going to live. So might not even need to use his Raider. He could probably beat with it here. He probably has a removal spell.
No reason to waste one.
There we go.
What do you think of Oiso playing Kami the Hunt there?
I don't know. I guess he's just trying to slow, not take 7. It's like a bad healing salve for him. Slows down Cerrone's board. So it doesn't look like he has much of a hand to talk about.
It's just ugly. It's funny. I was watching the decks, and it seemed like Cerrone's deck was clearly the best deck, but there have been lots of top 8s where the best deck hasn't won.
Absolutely. But he has the best deck, and the fewest chances to get sort of screwed over by his deck. I mean, he's almost
he has quality and consistency. You can't color screw him. He's monocolor plus 2 cards.
Right. And he's just got so many power. He's got, every good removal spell, short of a Glacial Ray in red. He's got the red Honden. He's got a white Honden to make it just back-breaking. He just put another counter on his Blade Main with a Moonlit Strider. Great splash here.
Meanwhile, on the back table, Arnost Zidek of the Czech Republic just sank into Takanuma and cleared Tsuyoshi Fujita's hand.
I love sink into Takanuma. I think that was an
Izumi
underrated
Cutthroat
card coming into
beating
this event.
Fujita down. Counters off the Blade Main, and there's the scoop. Wow, Jeffrey Cerrone just smashes Masashi Oiso. Takes a quick 1-0 lead.
And I think that's a great example of the differences between the decks. I mean, Oiso has so many opportunities for just terrible hands.
Sure.
He just has opportunity for terrible hands, and it's almost impossible for Cerrone to get a terrible hand. I mean, as long as he has mana and spells.
Right, exactly.
He doesn't have a very high curve. He doesn't have... his deck is just... It takes a disaster of epic proportions for him to find some really bad hands. I mean, he just has to have almost no land.
It's interesting. Look at the crowd on the back rail in the feature match area is kind of interesting. It's the battle for Swedish supremacy. You've got Johan Sadisborn and David Larson battling it out back there.
Right, we also have a Finnish Civil War.
Right. Antti Malin playing Tommy Walamese.
4 Scandinavians in the top 8.
That's pretty interesting.
That is pretty interesting. No North Americans.
No North Americans, no French, no Dutch.
Right. Very interesting. I haven't talked to any of the Dutch players about what happened here, but they've been playtesting with Target, so maybe that's
they've been infected
the
by
Americanization of the Dutch.
Yeah, Jerome Remy was wearing a Captain America shirt on day one.
He wears that. He wears that pretty regularly, but he's worn that into a couple of top 8s too. So he top 8 at Grand Prix Detroit. He was wearing Captain America.
Oh, all right. Sure.
So do we know if did Oiso sideboard at all here, John?
Ooh, deck list.
We have Mr. Oiso's deck list here, and with his 8 forest, 2 mountain, 7 swamp mana base.
So it's 2 mountain, 2 petal main for 2 spiraling embers.
Yes, he is playing the 2 petal mains. He has. He is playing the Jade Idol that we had talked about a little bit.
Really?
Yes, he is playing Jade Idol.
Interesting.
So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. Just doing a quick Spirit and Arcane count. 5. Not a ton. 6, 7, 8. No. 9. 10, 11. That's actually pretty high. 12. So he's got 13. He's also main decking the Rending Vines. So that could be interesting. He might, he has an answer to Jeffrey Cerrone's Hondens. I mean, really, the red Honden's the one that he really has to worry about, obviously. Although the white one can get out of hand pretty quickly.
Reading the message boards, and Psycho Lugia is wondering why Mark Rosewater never gets to talk on the air.
It's because he's not here.
He's not here. It's true.
Mark
used to attend every Pro Tour, but since having twins, his wife doesn't let him out of the house as often.
Well, she lets him out for unevents.
Yep, the Invitational.
World Championships and the Invitational. He actually negotiated. She was originally, I think, only going to let him out for World events and the Invitational, but he threw in. He was able to bargain for the unevents.
The way I heard it, she told him he was going.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Laura's a good woman.
All right.
They have 3 kids now. They have